What's up, guys? It's Andrew here again. Hey, there's Andrew back on your video screen. So, I decided today I would check out the 10 fan theories that make Disney movies terrifying. I just clicked the thumbnail because I forgot to do that. I've always seen this in my feed, my recommended side notifications, so I don't know, I just always ignored it, but, you know, since it keeps notifying me about it, I'm like, screw it! Let's just watch it. So, yeah, without further ado, we'll get right into it. So, here we go.
Who doesn't love fan theories? They're a perfect way to rationalize plot holes or ponder unanswered questions that movies leave.
Well, these days, you know, having fan theories is not too bad of an idea since everybody's stuck at home being bored.
Dark fan theories based on Disney are some of the most popular. Disney presents itself as so innocent, and that just makes our imaginations run wild and wonder what dark secrets may lie beneath the fun surface that is Disney. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of our favorites. Hold on now, before we get started, subscribe to our channel. You'll be joining the notification squad and get frequent updates on brand new content.
Updates!
And one more thing, why not take a part in our
theory.
emoji quiz? Can you guess what film these emojis are showing off? Wait to the end to find out.
What do you think those emojis? A woman and a tiger. Aladdin? I guess. That's my best guess if it's for Disney, right?
Frozen. Frozen probably has the most long-winded fan theory on this list, so we're gonna give it to you straight. Some Disney fans believe that Tangled and Frozen are pretty tightly linked. Director Jennifer Lee confirmed that when Elsa's parents' ship was capsized, they were heading to a wedding. Seeing as Rapunzel and Eugene are seen arriving at Elsa's coronation, and considering they're from Germany, we can only assume that they were specifically invited. This has led fans to believe that Elsa's parents, the king and queen, died whilst on a voyage to Rapunzel's wedding. The theory goes a little further though, as if they'd capsized halfway to Germany from Scandinavia, they would be right around Atlantica, the home of Ariel and King Triton. So,
but I've also heard about this theory where they were Tarzan's parents, and they just got stuck out in sea. I've never heard this one before. It's interesting.
though it could even be possible that the shipwreck scene in The Little Mermaid could be all that's left of Elsa's parents. While it's certainly far-fetched, seeing as The Little Mermaid was produced long before Frozen was even thought of, retcons do happen. Disney hasn't confirmed whether their animated classics are canon to each other, and they likely never will. This doesn't stop fans from linking the movies together, something we'll talk about more a little bit later.
Princess Jasmine, you're very...
wonderful, magnificent, glorious, punctual.
Punctual?
Sorry.
Aladdin. A great deal of the genie's dialogue in Aladdin came from ad-libs of the great comedian Robin Williams. Robin's tendency to go off on strange tangents and make strange references informed a lot of the genie's bizarre and seemingly impossible pop...
Yeah, I heard he did like 15 hours of just improv for the movie. Like, they had a lot to work with him, so, they got their money's worth of Robin Williams. Oh yeah, rest in peace, Robin.
Culture references. The first line spoken by the genie is iconic. 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck. Yet, despite it being locked away for 10,000 years and being awoken in what is seemingly the pre-Crusades Middle East. So how on earth does he know all of these pop culture references? Well, barring the possibility that the genie is simply omniscient, we can only assume that Aladdin takes place 10,000 years in the future. One popular theory is that Agrabah is actually a nation post-apocalypse. It's one of the only ways to explain the genie's frequent pop culture references and the lack of technology.
Yeah, I never heard of them being from the future. Obviously, everything with the future is always... Whenever somebody brings it up, it's always like catastrophe. It's always destruction. Like, why? Why can't it just be normal? No, this has got to be a deserted... Not deserted, but populated, devastated city that got destroyed in the past, but regrew out of it. I mean, he's a genie after all. I don't think he needs the internet. He could probably just, like... I don't know, somehow magically put a TV in his lamp. If he could fit in the lamp, he could put a TV in there probably, or... If it is the future, I don't know, he had a tablet in there, a phone?
Even if Agrabah simply never caught up with the rest of the world in terms of technology, the movie would still have to take place far in the future for the genie to know all of these references. But then again, the genie is literally magic, so who knows?
I'll just poison him with this.
Ooh.
Take it, Kronk. Feel the power.
Oh, I could feel it.
The Emperor's New Groove. What started as a brief, dark joke in The Emperor's New Groove triggered a minor conspiracy theory amongst Disney fans. Kuzco is alone in the jungle and visibly afraid. There are alligators, jaguars, and other wild animals that could potentially eat him. To top it all off, a small fly buzzes past him and gets stuck in a spider's web. He frantically screams for someone to help him before the spider emerges and eats him, saying it's too late. Not only is it a reference to Jeff Goldblum's pleas to help him in the 80s horror film The Fly, but it's also even darker than it first appears. While talking animals in Disney films aren't uncommon, the only other animal to talk in The Emperor's New Groove was the squirrel, who communicated solely in squirrel speak. Animals that were originally humans, like Kuzco, however, retained their ability to speak even after Yzma's mad science transformed them. The theory is that both the fly and spider were originally humans and were transformed into arthropods by Yzma. If that's true,
ooh, it could be, yeah. I could see that. She's already experimented to see if this shit works, so like, well, she was trying to kill Kuzco, but hey, I don't know, she's like a crazy scientist, right? Crazy dictator, so.
then it means we didn't so much witness the cruelty of nature and more a premeditated murder. While it's not the first murder to happen in a Disney film, it definitely is the most disturbing one to think about.
Come on, Peach. Now what?
Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is a movie that's really aimed at parents. While the film is entertaining and fun for kids, the real message isn't about being a good kid, but about being a good father. The movie puts so much time into showing different approaches to fatherhood that the idea that none of the movie ever happened is a little unsettling, which is probably why this fan theory took off. When Marlin loses his wife and all but one of their eggs, we immediately understand why Marlin is so overprotective of Nemo. Some fans theorize, however, that Nemo never survived and the movie is a metaphor for Marlin dealing with his grief after the Barracuda attack, as well as the fact that
Is it like that meme? Hey, are you winning, son? Dad, it's over. Just get over it. What was the line out of? Are you winning, son? Maybe he is. He's just all crazy in the clownfish brain.
Nemo literally translates from Latin as nothing, hinting on him being a figment of his imagination. The 5 stages of grief are mapped out in the movie. He goes through denial, trying to stop Nemo going to school, anger at Nemo when he swims too far away, his journey across the ocean can be seen as bargaining to try to get Nemo back, depression upon seeing Nemo flushed away, and finally he accepts to let go of his hard past. While we doubt that this was ever intended by Disney or Pixar, it's interesting how a character defined by his grief goes through the 5 stages on his journey to save his son.
Good news is, I found your hat, Woody. My hat?
Uh-oh.
Slick, thank you.
Woody.
Where'd you find it? Well, that's the bad news.
Toy Story 2. We're not completely sure if this theory is scary or strangely heartwarming. While it's never been outright stated, fans paid attention to Toy Story 2 when it strongly implies that Andy's mother is the original owner of Jessie.
I've heard of this
We know
one.
from the amount of time Jessie has spent abandoned that Jessie is considerably older than Woody, and she has better knowledge of the toy's own franchise history than Woody ever has. We also know...
I mean, that's true. And also, the show was made in the 50s, and I'm assuming Andy was born in the 80s, 90s, 80s, probably the 80s, late 80s, right? Alright, yeah.
that the young girl that abandoned her frequently wore a hat identical to Jessie's. As a matter of fact, the hat is identical to the one that Andy wears in the first Toy Story movie, with the imprint of where the white band once was.
Yeah.
It seems a little strange that if Andy had a cowboy hat, that he would have tried to get one as much like Woody's as possible. So why would he have Jessie's hat? The question is never really answered. Fans have guessed, however, that the hat may have been passed down to Andy by his mother. If this theory is true, it means not only was Jessie tragically abandoned by Andy's mom, but she also, against all odds, managed to find her way back home, albeit in a more unconventional way.
You were this close to losing your...
The Incredibles. While not outright terrifying, writer Steve Damrell certainly had an uncomfortable thought about The Incredibles. While watching the Pixar movie, he noticed many unusual similarities to the work of Ayn Rand, in particular Atlas Shrugged, the novel that outlined her objectivist philosophy. It's not as...
That would be a cool power to have, though, just to have that elastic power to go through anything, to grab something. What if you at a vending machine and for some reason the candy bar got stuck and you already paid the money and didn't give you the money back? Wouldn't it be awesome just to like stick up there and stretch it, grab the same bar, and since you're already in there, grab another bar for free, right? I mean, you had to get yours, so one just kind of got stuck between your fingers. The second one did, so yeah.
Apparently horrific, but the idea of the kids' movie having a strong political philosophy backing it is a little scary. Outside of the main visual cue of Mr. Incredible on one knee, holding the orb-shaped robot over his shoulders, a symbol uncannily similar to the popular image of Atlas carrying the world, the movie also seems to reinterpret some of the verbiage of Ayn Rand. While there are many parallels, including the heroes being berated with lawsuits despite their good deeds to society, the most apparent is when Dash is denied the opportunity to race with kids in his school. His parents feel that it's unfair because he would excel at it thanks to his superpower.
Oh, yeah.
Dash points out that he should be allowed to race because he is special. She responds with, everyone is special. Dash is sad and says, then no one is. The villain's syndrome also echoes this idea. The idea of choosing norms over exceptionalism and the hatred of success are big elements of Rand's philosophy. Alternatively, the movie could be viewed as a criticism of those ideas, not unlike BioShock, but it's still strange that these themes made it into a kid's film either way.
Jeez, it's a lion! Run, Peppa, move it! Hey!
The Lion King.
Ooh.
Who remembers Mufasa? The lion with the voice so awesome that when the time came to remake the movie, Disney got James Earl Jones to play him all over again. Well, some fans...
But like I didn't even see the movie because the trailer, it just looks so... It looks so bad being realistic. Yeah, it wasn't for me, but I've seen clips and he just sounds more boring. It's just like, there was no emotion. He'd be like, Scar, help me. Like, it looks so bad. Like, and they spent a lot of it on the look of the movie, but for some reason, like, these people just came in, read the script and went home. Like, they probably just recorded it doing the freaking rough draft, just the practice of the movie. So, yeah. I don't know, they shouldn't have probably made it.
Believed that Mufasa not only became a spirit like we saw in the movie, but actively controlled the weather. After Mufasa dies and Scar takes over Pride Rock, it becomes rather apparent that he's a bad leader. After all, he's so bad that he's somehow caused a drought, something that should not be physically possible. However, on Earth, could a lion rule so badly that it never rains? Well, when Mufasa appears to a lonely and dejected Simba, he appears shaped by clouds. Some fans have taken this to mean less that he is one of the many kings watching over Pride Rock, but that he is literally a water god now. After all, as soon as Scar is defeated by Simba, it rains for the first time. Simba climbs to the top of Pride Rock, soaking wet, and roars triumphantly. While the water is intended to symbolize new, good times for Pride Rock, some fans think that it was Mufasa turning the tap on now that Scar is gone.
That's kind of messed up, though. He gets killed, but then he punishes the people that live in Pride Rock? I mean, the animals? That's not fair. I mean, I know you're gone, you're dead, and you can control the weather, but, I mean, you're not hard. Just give people some water and some food that they can graze on.
Snow White. Speaking...
I just love that editing. I have to, boom! It just kind of wakes me up. I'm falling asleep. Oh! God. All right. I keep distracting the video. Let's just keep going.
Speaking of characters having hidden identities, one of the darkest theories surrounding Snow White is the thought that Prince Charming isn't actually the one to rescue her, but is instead the personification of death. The first time Snow White sees the prince, she runs away in fear of him. I'm sure most of us can attest that that's not a normal reaction to seeing a new person. The Redditor who developed the theory believed that it could be taken as a metaphor representing her nearly drowning in the well, as Snow White was hanging over the well just before the prince appeared. The second time they meet is the famous scene in which Prince Charming kisses Snow White and saves her life, which isn't entirely logical either, unless of course it symbolizes the kiss of death. The prince doesn't sweep her away and take her to a faraway kingdom. He is the embodiment of death, who kisses her, sweeps her away, and takes her to the underworld. After all, he only appears at what would have been Snow White.
This probably would be something the original fairy tale would probably say, but wow. It's like, if it's all happy though, he's just the kiss of death, and she's like, bye, I'm dead, everybody, and they're like happy and cheering. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a funny, like, dark, satirical way to do that.
White's funeral. It's an idea that can be easily unsettling, but even if this theory were true, it doesn't necessarily mean that Prince Charming is the bad guy in the situation. He could just simply be a nice, angelic metaphor for crossing over with no ill will towards Snow White whatsoever. After all, he's not the one that poisoned her.
And I got friends on the other side.
He's got friends on the other side.
The Princess and the Frog. No Disney villain has quite as much style and sophistication as Dr. Facilier, the Shadow Man. It's easy to explain away the majority of the Shadow Man's strangely specific knowledge in the movie as simply being voodoo magic, but there is another fan theory that was first pitched on DeviantArt by user Scrooge MacDuck. It's possible that Dr. Facilier is actually Tiana's father. After all, he's aware of Tiana's existence and starts causing trouble for her despite seemingly never meeting her before. He not only knows...
But, I guess it's a metaphor of like good versus evil. One side of the family that wants to destroy people, the other one wants to be good. So that'd be weird. Why did he never raise her if he's the father? Ugh.
Her name, but he also knows her dream to own her own restaurant. While it's possible that it's just an extension of his magic powers and that he reads her the same way he did Prince Naveen, it's also possible that his knowledge comes from a pre-existing relationship. While Tiana believes that her father died at war, it's entirely possible that he made a deal with his friends on the other side to give him a second chance at life. He was brought back, albeit as a very different man. From there, his newfound power corrupted him. It's not a particularly nice thought to think that the father who seemed so loving and caring in flashbacks could become the nefarious Dr. Facilier. We like the idea, though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I get it. He didn't want to die. He wanted to come back to his family, especially his daughter. But the evil force on the other side that gave him the chance to live pretty much took over his life. I guess it's like betrayal in a way. And so, he just starts becoming evil, does evil things, doesn't necessarily care about his family anymore because his spirit's been taking over the body. So it's not too bad of a theory. Yeah, I mean, I could buy that. Oh, Fantasia? Oh, there's the devil.
Fantasia and the Disney Universe. Earlier in the video, we talked about how some Disney fans like to think that every Disney movie exists in the same world. While we're not going to say how plausible it is, we're going to add a little to the theory. If the Disney world is indeed a thing, then we can't help but notice that all the bad guys seem to be particularly adept with magic. Where do all these evil villains draw upon their power from? Well, we have an idea.
Spirits?
Chernobog, the great demon from Slavic mythology
Satan, yeah.
that
There we go.
the night on Bald Mountain. Walt Disney himself described Chernobog as pure evil, who would fuel the wicked intent of those around
He looks pretty evil to me.
Could it be that all the other Disney villains gained their magical powers from the great and terrible Chernobog? He could potentially even control the friends on the other side that gave Dr. Facilier his powers. Maybe the only reason Maleficent can take the form of a dragon is thanks to him. In Slavic folklore, Chernobog is the god of all that is bad. If all the Disney movies take place in the same universe, and Fantasia is included in that, then
this stuff was supposed to be kids' cartoons. When you really think about this, like, this is Walt Disney when he was alive. He wanted to make this. I'm not saying you can't challenge kids' minds and stuff, but like, how creepy is that for Disney? That's like pretty much a kids' company. I mean, I guess they've done a lot of creepy things. There's just so much stuff we could watch in future videos. But yeah, I mean, just another example, right?
Stands to reason that Chernobog would keep that role. He is great, powerful, truly terrifying, and just maybe responsible for every bad thing that happens in the Disney world. Well, that's enough of the dark fan theories for today. We don't really want to bum ourselves out too much. Were there any that you thought up that we didn't include? If so, comment below and let us know. Oh, and before we go, one last thing. If you played our emoji quiz today and answered the following, then you were right. Remember to subscribe to get more videos from our playlist, and as always...
I can't even see it! This stupid... Oh, Catwoman. What? Oh, dang, I was way off. Hopefully you guys can see that in there. I don't know. It says Catwoman. The stupid annotation popped up. But, yeah, thanks, guys, so much for watching this video. I know it's just another quick video here, but I appreciate you coming down and sharing your time with me on this channel. And if you did subscribe, thank you very much, and I hope to see you again on the next video. And if you liked or disliked, just give your opinion down below. I'm willing to grow better on these reaction videos, so yeah. Like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. So I appreciate your time once again, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Peace. Yeah, there you go.